All right, so I got Chip the Pleb, Holton Lava, Shane the Lord. We got him right here. He's the Lord's franchise owner. Yeah, part two. Brought him back because I couldn't get enough of him. And then I got Christ Slayer right here. So what's going on today is I'm not going to have any prospect recap, and we're actually revising the format on how I present to you guys information. I'm going to have my guest talk with me the whole time, as opposed to taking moments out to talk and ask the guys questions. Pretty interesting, huh? So today's going to be about improving yourself in Rocket League in general. Um, I guess a good title would be Card Control, maybe, to start with. But what's going on is in Rocket League, you could say that everyone's initial first reaction as a newbie, I guess, is to chase down the ball and basically throw themselves at it. Now, I know that's how I play, but there's actually a method to the madness. So I'm gonna call this segment "Tips from Taylor." So first you're going to want to go to Rocket League Home, and then you're gonna want to go to the free play section, and you're gonna go to training. That's where you want to do a lot of this today if you're going to do following me from my step-by-step process. So, question for both of my guests. How often do you guys go into free play? Do you guys use free play? I know I've seen Chrysler use it a few times.
When I play Rocket League, that's usually all I play because I am trash at the game.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I'll usually just do like the training scenarios, stuff like that. A lot of the striking and goalie stuff.
Yeah, no, I feel it. I feel it. I actually got on a few times just to do that, and it's like a totally different experience because you're either in a game with like teammates and enemy cars around you, and then you're just like under pressure, or you're in like a field by yourself or with teammates just like chilling, you know? So you really get a chance to like learn and test things out in free play. As I said, guys, free play, go to training. That's where you want to be. But uh, to get the desired result of sending the ball where it needs to go, you're going to want to put your car in a specific position. That's really important, as opposed to just throwing yourself at the ball. So that's the first thing you might want to practice. Uh, Obviously, approaching the ball is the first step, and then you want to angle your car. You want to try different angles, because I honestly cannot explain to you the perfect angle for each and every shot, because it's going to be a different angle every time, and it varies with what car you have. But let me ask, does that make sense?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's fair to say.
makes sense to me at least.
Yeah, no, of course. So how long would you say you can keep your car in the air?
Like me
While
personally, or just
flying,
in general?
boosting? Yeah, just in general, personally, what have you.
I don't know. Maybe currently, like maybe 10 seconds, maybe.
Yeah. All right.
I'm not the best at aerials. I'm working on it, but
Mhm.
we're getting there.
All right, that makes sense. Now, while we're on the topic, you want to practice keeping your car in the air as long as you can, uh, gradually making it harder for yourself by adding additional flips and turns after you get the first part done. So you want to take it step by step. So first step for, I guess, a green person is going to be practicing keeping your car in the air. After that, what you're going to want to do is, as I said, change it up. Make it hard for yourself. You're not done until you're just not done. You're never done learning, you know? But um so additional practice would be going from one side of the goal to the other side. What you can do is you can start from your goal and then just float all the way to the other side. That's a really good practice to start with. I'm going to be doing all this stuff later. But so it's important to land on your wheels. Why would you say that?
Oh, for recovery.
Would you agree
speed.
with that statement? Yes.
Yeah, I'm the teacher's pet.
Anything to add?
Who, me? Oh no, I'm
Shane?
oh Shane. Yeah, you got it, Shane.
He took the words right out of my mouth, really.
All right.
Honestly, like I said, I'm not the best Rocket League player out there, so I'm learning.
Myself not included. I am no bueno at the game.
Yeah. So ultimately, recoveries, uber important. See, now when you're watching certain people play, whether you're watching Full Senders or you're watching any other bad team, I'm not going to name anybody, but not that Full Senders is bad, they're actually one of the best. But what's going on here is you can control the pace of the game based on your recoveries. The faster you recover, the faster you can get to that ball, the faster pace of the game. What that's going to do for you is you can potentially score more points in a short amount of time, or on the opposite side of the perspective, is you're actually putting a lot of pressure on the enemy team. And if they're not prepared for that, they might fall apart, especially if there's not good comms. But, all right, guys. Now I got a good question for you guys. What's a good M word that's relevant to Rocket League? Starts with an M. M for moose.
M like
Yeah, like moose. What's a good M word relevant to Rocket League? I have the answer, but I'm waiting for yours.
magic. I'm kidding.
Magic. You got anything?
I got nothing.
Shane?
Give me a second. Give me
I
a
got
second.
nothing.
Momentum. Momentum. It's all about that momentum. So, what I'm talking about is you want to practice being able to get to top speed. You'll know you're at top speed when you have a small change in camera angle and you have the trails coming out behind your wheels. Now, once you're at top speed, the cool thing is you don't need a boost anymore. You'll know when you're at top speed from what I said, and mathematically, top speed's around, I guess, 51 miles per hour in the game. That's what my notes say.
What are your sources?
Now
for
to
that?
practice. Let's see. I don't have them written down, honestly. Give me one moment.
It's okay. It's okay. You said it's 50. You said 51. We'll definitely go.
Yeah. Now what I was checking this for was the octane specifically. So I apologize if there's other top speeds for other cars. It's all about that octane and that dominus. All about that octane. That's what I have to say. Both my accounts have octanes on them. Now,
I'm pretty sure they gave you an octane to start the game.
well, duh. I mean presets, homie. Now, what I was talking about is to practice this, practice getting to top speed and retaining your momentum. What you're going to want to do is, as I said, once you're at top speed, you're going to want to throw yourself around. Whether you're doing a flip diagonally, forward, backwards, what have you. The whole point of this exercise is retaining the momentum. When you're at top speed and you're able to retain the momentum, that's also going to allow you to keep the pace of the game very fast. Once you lose momentum, you're going to have to take extra boost to get back up there. You're going to have extra time. You might lose opportunity for a good shot. Or, on the opposite side, you might give someone the opportunity for a good shot, and that's not what you want. One moment, I apologize. You guys have anything to add? Anything to add?
Yeah, so I was actually talking with Neko about this topic specifically, actually, about being top speed and holding your momentum. And as I die right here, and he made it sound like, to my understanding, there's a way you can flip your car that's gonna make you go faster than, per se, just straight flipping.
Are you able to explain that?
It was like a diagonal or a half flip. I do not know off the top of my head. It was a late night. It was like a
That's
1 a.m.
interesting.
conversation. But there is a way to flip or control your car, so when you're recovering, you keep all of your momentum.
No, that's really interesting. Momentum
Excuse me.
really plays a big part of the game. Now, the goal of that exercise was to be able to redirect your momentum. You think you'd be able to do that, Shane, if we threw you in a game? You think you'd be able to redirect your momentum?
Usually, I'm pretty good at it.
Mm-hmm.
His
Probably not the
life
way that
momentum.
you were supposed to do it.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Usually, I didn't hear what he said.
On Shane's part? What was that, Shane?
Oh, so I can do it. Probably not the way you're supposed to do it, though. I usually do it by holding the handbrake, stuff like that. I do flip to go faster towards the ball and stuff, but to do it diagonally, I think I know what you're talking about because I've seen a lot of players doing it, but I have no idea how to do it.
Mm-hmm. Now I'm gonna shout out once again Neko, my #1 critic. He was explaining to me that it takes about 3 front flips to obtain top speed. So you wouldn't even have, you can just front flip. You don't have to move the car. Obviously you're moving the car by front flipping, but I mean you don't have to accelerate at that point.
Yeah, but he was
now
to another point there. He did point out that 3 front flips is too much time.
That's interesting you say that because with the information I was reading on last night, I haven't gotten a chance to test this yet, but I read that it was 2 front flips to obtain top speed. Now I wonder if they've changed it, or if my information is wrong, honestly. But I thought that was pretty interesting that I had like different information from Neko and then my sources. Now, do you guys have any tips for boost management? Very important aspect of the game, boost management.
That's actually an area that I'm still struggling in.
Yeah.
You look at now. You're tapping it. I know you're supposed to be tapping it. You're not supposed to be like just full on boosting. Maybe in some scenarios you can, but from what I've seen, you see people boosting a lot. Okay, but they're tapping. It.
Definitely
Nobody's
me, for example.
Yeah, nobody's actually holding the boost for the most part. It seems. And the big way you can tell that is everybody has so much more boost. If they were just holding it down, I don't think they would have the boost to pull off some of the maneuvers and some of the control that you've seen. So I guess my tip would be to tap your boost button, whatever it is, whether you be on PC, Xbox, or PS4 or whatever. Just be tapping that boost button.
Do you
I
have any
usually
tips,
just
Shane?
steal the enemy's boost.
Yeah, no, I heard that somewhere. That's actually, I had no idea that that was the way to go, honestly, you know? If they're not paying attention to their boost, you might as well take it from them. Now, what I got
just
right
take
here
like
for
wider
boost
rotations.
management-
Well, yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
that's
know.
smart.
I don't think sacrificing rotation for boost is the play, and I think you see a lot of like more experienced players have that same stance. You can defend goal without boost. You can't defend every shot without boost, but you can defend goal without boost. Like I'd rather have the challenge on 50-50 balls than like a free like drive towards net, a free dribble towards net.
No, of course, of course.
Yes, that's just more so my opinion on that matter. I don't know the actual truth behind it.
Now, I got a tip down for boost management, and I know I already said it, but I'll say it again. Once you're at top speed, just stop boosting. You'll know you're at top speed when you have, when your camera angle changes, and then you have the... I'm pulling a blank. I'm pulling a blank on what
I
it's
know what
called.
you're
When
talking
it's
about.
the trail behind your wheel. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure what it's called either, but I know what you're talking about.
If I pulled up Rocket League, it'd tell me right on the screen too. That's what sucks. But once you see that, you'll know you're at top speed, and then you're literally just wasting boost at that point if you still have it down. Cool factoid about once you're at top speed, you can retain the top speed as long as you, once again, retain your momentum. Obviously, you lose momentum if you take a sharp turn or get hit, thing. But once you're at top speed, you can keep it. Pretty cool. Another tip is to use... Go on.
I was gonna say, so it sounds like it's really just about keep playing at top speed of the game. It seems to be a big difference in rank or skill level. I'm not 100% sure, but it just seems to be like a different objective or goal for some players. Just like staying top speed versus looking at I guess setups, etc., etc.
That's fair to say. Now, I'm sure this is a very small thing for some people, but Shane mentioned drifting earlier. Uh, just a little quick note, everybody. Drifting is going to be the X button if you're on Xbox, and it's going to be the square button if you're on PlayStation 4.
What about
Thursday's
if
Thoughts with Taylor Jones. Thank you very much.
What if
No,
I'm on PC?
you know, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. That's what we get for doing a cross-platform game, you know?
Yeah, we'll get that control layout for actually on the real. Now that I think about it, nobody really plays mouse and keyboard, so I'm gonna take that back. Everybody's got a.
They all play
Xbox, so-
controllers?
Yeah, they all, even though they're all on PC, they all the majority of everybody's got PlayStation or Xbox controllers. They don't play on mouse and keyboard.
That's really interesting.
It'd be really hard, in my opinion, to play on mouse and keyboard, but I'm sure there's someone out there that it's like, yeah, I'm that guy.
I mean, I think it would vary with like the actual button layout. What buttons do what? Because it's not like every. Do you understand what I'm saying? Are you following me?
No, I'm not following. If I'm being honest.
Well, you don't use all of the buttons. You play PC games, correct?
Correct.
Now whether you're playing Counter-Strike or Rocket League, you may use different buttons to move forward or move backwards or do this or that. You know what I mean? Since it's not a controller, it's not like RT is always shoot, like in first-person shooters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Example, it could be you could press X to reload your gun on the PC on Call of Duty, but you get on Battlefield on the PC and it's Y to reload, something like that. Just a raw example.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a mouse and keyboard. Back on topics.
Yeah, my mistake. Mouse and keyboards always get me, you know? They're just so confusing. Now, I got a question for you guys. Do you guys personally think that your car makes a difference, whether you're playing the Dominus, the Octane, or one of the other variations?
So I used to not think so.
Cars do make differences.
What was that, Shane?
Oh, I said I know cars do make differences. I'm not gonna lie though, I don't know which one's which. I usually just use the Octane. I think it's the best, like it's the most balanced car, and that's why they give it to you at the beginning of the game. And also, Liquid Ice, shout out to him, uses it all the time, and that man is pretty dirty with it. So I just roll with that.
All right. And what were you saying? I'm sorry, my mic cut off. What were you saying, Slayer?
I used to not think that it made a difference. Like,
these mortals don't even know
I used to be like, yeah, it doesn't matter, I'll play whatever. But now, I guess with a little bit more experience, seeing how everything's played out, I'd have to say, for sure, I think it makes a difference. Maybe not as big of a difference as people make it out to be sometimes, but I think it makes a significant difference.
That's no, of course. Now, last night I actually looked up some of the stats, and interesting enough is most of these cars have like the same stats between length, width, height, surface area, etc. It's not that they're exactly the same, but their only difference is like maybe 6. What 6? About difference of 6. And,
A difference of 6?
Yeah, between I know, right? Doesn't that sound goofy?
It really does.
Yeah, so I'm looking at like the Mantis versus like the Moderer. The Mantis has the length of 128, where the Moderer has the length of 118, which is that one's 10, difference of 10. So
and that's the
on me
difference on
with
the
bad math.
hitbox, right? Or is that like
The length of the car.
Yeah. But the question in play comes onto the hitbox, right? Like, that's what we're talking about here. when we're talking about the length is what parts of the car can actually touch the ball, right?
Well, I wouldn't say that it's the hitbox specifically because there's length, width, and height, which all come into play when it comes to the hitbox.
Well, I understand,
But yes.
but we're talking about the length of the hitbox, correct? I'm just trying to make sure I'm following.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But I think that's pretty interesting. That it's really, so I guess you could say it kind of comes down to your like personal preference. Would you guys agree?
Yes and no. I think, in
What is
my
that?
opinion, having a bigger hitbox plays more of a role than having a smaller hitbox. I don't think like that's up for much preference.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
no,
have to
that's
agree on
fair.
that one.
'Cause, yeah, hitboxes is super important in almost any game. You're gonna want to have a smaller hitbox in first-person shooters, but in games like this, you're gonna want to have a bigger hitbox. So I think that's pretty interesting. Now, so when it comes to picking your car, outside of the statistics, you basically only have like 2 choices with all these cars, especially since they're like, there's only a handful of cars and they're just variations of each other. But you basically can only choose between like boxy and short or like long and flat. I think that's pretty interesting. And I think, I mean, I don't know for a fact, but I feel like those come with 2 different play styles. Would that not make sense?
Yes, I think, now I'm no expert here, so please do not quote me, but I think that, flat cars provide better aerial control, or ball control in the air. I'm not 100% sure, it might be the other way around. But I think, like, at the very least, when you're looking at like coming off of anything with involving the wall, or any redirection, I think flatter cars provide a little bit more control.
So what I was looking at last night is, speaking of, I guess, off the wall, that's actually one of the most common mechanics or shots that professionals make is off the wall shots. You almost always see professionals making off the wall shots. I thought that was pretty interesting because me not being professional, you know, I'm always on the ground. But what do I know?
Well, I
just
know
got
that
thirsty
times
stuff.
have changed in regards to that.
Almost,
In
just most definitely.
towards like season 1 through like 3, shots that were considered like I guess top tier have excuse me, have become a lot more common, to my understanding. Like you see lower ranked players making shots that were high tier shots seasons ago now. You get what I'm saying?
That's pretty cool. It's kind of like inflation, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's the skill tier in my opinion. The ceiling. I don't know what the wording for that is, but
I think that's the best word for it, the ceiling. The skill ceiling, I guess, would be the best way to articulate that. Probably a better way. But yeah, no, I can agree with that. To add on to what you said, when I was doing my research, one of the most common season 1 shots that like really blew people's minds was air dribbling. You know what that is, right?
yeah.
It's so common. There's no way not to know it now. You know.
Well, we see it a lot now. I've heard some players. I honestly don't remember who I was talking to. It may have been Neko, but he was discussing. He's not a fan of air dribbles because they're hard to pass off of. And in high-level Rocket League, you have to be, I guess, more willing to pass.
That's actually what I have
makes
written
sense.
down.
Oh,
Yeah. Do you have anything to add, Shane?
I don't know. As far as the air dribbling goes, I gotta agree with Nico, because like air dribbling just seems like one of those things that you do to show off, and I've definitely seen it pay off. Like I've seen Chris Knight dunk on people by air dribbling and just being the best player on the field. But I think that when you do get into those, those grand champ, those champ 3 level games, you can't be really doing that a whole lot. Maybe sometimes, but you'll probably pay for it later or during
Yeah,
it.
for real. Yeah, like literally I have in my notes that it depends who you're playing against. You can pull off certain moves if like who you're playing against is like, I guess you could say, a quote noob, end quote. But now on to my next question.
So
I
you're
asked you
saying-
guys how you feel about. Go on.
Oh, go on. You're good. You're good.
No, please go on.
This is it. So you're saying it's more of a situation play, I guess.
It's about the skill. It's about the skill tier of who you're playing against. That's what I was leading to.
skill tier. Okay. That's all I
Yeah,
wanted
because
to
if you're
follow.
playing against, of course, no. If you're playing against someone who doesn't recognize the move or the play, then you can pull it off. But if you're playing against someone who does recognize the move or the play, or even worse, a team that recognizes the move and the play, they might steal the ball from you. They'll be prepared, what have you. I've seen some crazy stuff. Now moving on to what I was gonna ask. I asked you guys about the differences between the cars. Now, do you guys think there's a difference between playing with or without toppers? You know, the hats, the radios, the fancy things you put on top of your car. Do you think there's a difference whether I play with it or without?
I do not. No. I do not think there's a difference.
I don't either. I'm not gonna lie.
I personally feel like it adds to the hitbox. Now, I got a tip, and this actually comes from Slayer themselves. I was playing with them, and they were talking to me about double committing, and I can't believe that like went over my head that I didn't think to not do that. Just to put it simply, double committing is when you have more than one person going after the ball. Do you guys have anything to add to that comment?
It's probably the most common mistake I see teams make is double committing, and in my opinion, it is what sets teams apart. I think honestly, it's a big trust issue. That's where it comes from. I did think maybe it's like I don't know
can
if
agree
my
with that.
teammate's gonna go up and actually make contact, so I better go up as well to make sure. I'm not 100% sure like what the actual like thought process behind double committing is, but I had to say I'd chalk it up to like players not trusting each other. And it's probably the number one offense, like as far as teams' mistakes go, is double committing or defensive rotations. Like
No, I can agree with that.
so many players will stay in like pure defensive style formations where they don't rotate deep, they just sit around goal, and like that's just as bad. But I think the most common
Just as
thing
bad as double committing.
Yeah, I think double committing is more of a team issue. Player defensive rotations are more of a player issue. You see that more with players than with a whole team.
Now, I apologize. I'm looking at my notes. Do you guys have anything to add about the topics that we've covered so far on ball control, car control, boost control, or a topic that we haven't covered specifically, teamwork? Do you guys have anything to add on those 4 subjects?
On teamwork?
Teamwork, ball control, car control, boost control. Any of those?
So I've always felt that if teams played just even casuals, not even ranked, but just few casuals together, that helps. I think that like helps.
It
with the
goes
double
such a
commit
long
issue.
way, yeah.
Yeah, I think you work on building some of that trust without dare I say like risking your rank, I guess.
That's interesting. That's fair to say, too.
And like I know a lot of people aren't like you're like I'm a good player. Let's get to let's go into ranked. Let's play ranked, rank this, rank that. And like I like 100% get that. But
Yeah.
ultimately, I think you just spam casuals. Like as a team, just
No,
spam.
that's cool.
Like yeah, go through like a shit ton of casuals, and just reps. It's essentially just reps. Like it's the same thing as practicing. If teams just like had put more time into reps, I think that would help so much.
That's interesting. Right here on my notes, I actually found 3 game mechanics that a new player, for lack of a better explanation, a new player should skip. Anyone under Diamond should just skip these 3 concepts unless they are dead set on learning them, or I guess if they have a pro teaching them. But these 3 mechanics. So I'm gonna start with the ceiling shot and why not to. Short and sweet. Any professional is going to see what's coming their way, or see the ceiling shot coming, because you have to set it up first of all. That looks pretty obvious, and then then you're on the ceiling, and it's like, oh, he has the ball. I guess it's a ceiling shot. Now, the reason why you would want to go for the ceiling shot, I guess, as a professional, is you get to have your correctional dodge, your A button dodge, the whole time. If you're just on the wall or on the ground, you have just under 2 seconds from, I guess, leaving the ground, from liftoff, if you will, to correct yourself to move the car. But if you're going from the ceiling, you have the whole time until you touch the ground, which is actually a really cool mechanic in the game that I find fascinating. Other than that, the flip reset. Now, I don't know if you guys have heard about this. I genuinely haven't heard about this until last night. The flip reset is what you do is you want to get all 4 of your wheels to touch a surface, so that you get your directional flip back, your A button. And what this commonly is used for is you get your 4 wheels on the ball while you are making the shot. So you get 2 flips, 2 adjustments while you're making the shot. I thought that's a pretty elaborate technique, and that's actually why it's hard, because it's difficult to perform and it's inconsistent, and that's really not what you want to be going for.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like unless you know what you're getting out of it right there, you risk helping the enemy team almost.
No, I can agree with that. And then right back to what we were talking about earlier, funny thing that you guys brought it up, air dribbling. Air dribbling, it's predictable, and it's just might not be worth it, and it might not be worth learning it. So all 3 of these things, it might not be worth learning it until you're after Diamond, unless you're just boring to play Rocket League, you know. That's about all the topics I have on self-improvement. Now, do you guys have anything to add between the 2 of you guys?
On self-improvement, no. I do want to say, be sure to tune in Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where David Park, Panda, and myself will be discussing prospects, free agency, signings, all of that good stuff, critiquing players. Outside of that, great episode so far. Thanks for having me. That's all I have to say, really.
Do you have anything to add, Shane?
When it comes to the topic of self-improvement, I'd have to say that attitude does play a big role in just improving yourself. I think it's really important to just go into every match and everything that you do when you're trying to get better, something with a positive attitude. I know this sounds pretty stupid, but it does make a difference.
Well, you know what they say in school? There is no wrong answer.
Oh God.
But there definitely are wrong answers, because I'm an adult and I know that now. But at the end of the day, I had something to say. I had two things to say and I forgot one of them. What I'm gonna say I'd like for anybody to come to me if they have. Oh, I remember what I was gonna say. Let me say this real fast. I apologize for the pacing of this episode. As I said, 4 or 5 cups of coffee. I lost count, and it's already starting to wear down. So you can literally like play it back and hear it, and like, ah, pretty funny. But my second thing is I'm open to suggestions, comments, criticism. Please hit me up. My gamer tag and my Discord tag is Danger Ranger, with 2 R's at the end. DANGERRANGERR. Please hit me up. And for all you Rocket League players in the league, feel free to queue with me. Teach me some things. I'll teach you some things if you don't know them. I appreciate everyone in the Discord, and I appreciate everyone in Rocket League. And in PDG. That's all I got. Next Thursday, 12 p.m. Eastern, we're gonna have another show. Don't know who the guest is yet, but if anyone wants to hit me up and ask to be a guest, I wouldn't mind it.
Hopefully we can get
But,
a
y'all-
little bit of a panel together for that.
That'd be awesome, you know? That would be, as they say, dope.
Maybe we can get your
Thanks,
biggest
everybody.
critic on here.
Yeah, Neko, get on here. Yeah, Neko. All right, well, that's it for the stream. I appreciate everybody. Y'all have a good day. Keep your dogs fed and out of hot cars. And stay in school.